Get a minute, don't know. Get a minute of your time. Get a minute of your. Let it.
I sure gotta live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time. God of the creation, the relations I've got, the only one that keeps me safe, the only one you should trust. For sure, it ain't right that I have checked the speck of dust from all of its sides. Fall down, that from my height, cause I didn't see the plank I have in my eye.
Nepo. No.
Nemo? Just kidding.
Like nepotism.
Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to our podcast From Vision to Success. If you were here last week, we were discussing my tardiness and ways that I could improve. And I will have you know that I was here in the studio by 9:35.
9:35 in the studio. But you were outside.
No, I was outside at 9:25. I came in at 9:35.
Yeah, so that's what we're tracking.
When I was like...
when you arrive.
Inside the house, 9:35. Or did you want me to track when I was outside?
When you're outside, because the whole thing is about being 15 minutes early.
Oh, yeah. I was way I was
So-
super early. I had to do my makeup. I had a moment of reflection doing my makeup. We came in. I had some water. Miguel and I had a heart-to-heart, and we're good to go.
She chastised me. So
you know what?
We have here, so our goal time is 9:45, and then you came in at 9:25. Oh, no,
9:35.
35.
9:35. So I came in 10 minutes earlier.
So 35. So that's, a whole 10 minutes early.
Yeah, so I'm excited. See, I can do it. I've been actually a lot better after we had the conversation about how to be on time. Because I will tell you, I am that person that is notoriously late, and I'm rushing. I'm like rushy at the end, and I get stressed out. And then we had a full-blown conversation, and I adopted what you said with regards to like planning on leaving at this time. This is the time, instead of like, oh, I have, I can get exactly right. So I've been embracing that during my week. It's been a whole lot better. I was even to church yesterday. I did get like a couple minutes late. But
now you're involving family, and then that's like
But I will have you know, I put an alarm, and I was like, we have to leave the house by 9:40. But I'm like, I can't put an alarm by 9:40, so let me put an alarm by 9:35. So everybody's like, okay, everybody, let's go, right? Yeah, I know, right?
That's good. So hang on one second. So the last time you were 18 minutes late.
Okay.
Today you're 10 minutes early.
So we're balancing out, eh?
So do you want to play a balancing game?
Okay.
I just thought of it right now.
Sure, go ahead.
So we'll do 10 sessions.
10 sessions. Okay, we'll see. We will see what we
10 balancing sessions. And let's see because right now you're 8 minutes in the hole.
Okay. I think that'll be no problem. By next week I'll be like...
Okay, so if by the 10th session you are, let's say 15, let's say if you're like 60 minutes.
60 minutes?
Plus.
Oh my gosh.
In a surplus.
Okay, 60
Do you know
in
what
10
I mean?
sessions. Yeah, that's... hold on, how many sessions do I have left? 8?
So you have 8 sessions left.
Oh, okay. So if I need 7 sessions to be 10 minutes over. Because I'm in the whole 8 minutes,
You're
right?
in the whole 8 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
So I will.
What will you do?
I will buy you your next book.
Yes. So I have a question for you because it reminded me because I haven't gotten you the book yet because Mike and I were talking,
RX,
right?
RX.
All right, Anxiety RX, because I told him, I was like, no, I'm going to get him the physical book. And he's like, why are you getting him the physical book? You should get him the audiobook because that's what he does the most. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I should ask you. So what would you like? Audio? What will help you to actually do it?
Okay. So what I do when I'm on the road and stuff, I hear the books, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
But I do know that there is so much. It's like 1,000 times better reading and marking it and making notes and all this other stuff.
So, okay, tell me. So, would you commit once I get you? If you choose the physical copy,
Yeah.
will you commit to 5 pages a day minimum? You don't even have to do 10.
How big's the book?
The book's like 700 pages. It's
How
like
much?
I think it's a big book. It's a 700.
You're lying.
No, it's a big book. It might not be 700, but it is a big book because the audio version is 18 hours. That's a big book.
Okay. So I'll
Do you want to? Okay.
No, the
think
book.
about it.
I'll do the book.
You're gonna do the book.
Do the book.
Okay.
I need to increase my library, and I have a massive library on my phone. Like
Yeah.
I download books all the time, but it's the physical. I know I need to get back to physical because there's power
Yeah.
in reading, and it's exercise for the mind, and also all this other stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a huge fan of physical reading. I think it's different than actually listening to
Yeah.
audiobooks. Audiobooks are good because you can do them anytime.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between audiobooks and physical.
I retain more. Like when I'm reading, like I have done it, right? And so when I read the book,
you have read. Does he know how to read? Just kidding.
so freaking rude.
I'm just kidding. He does know how to read.
Sometimes, but yeah, no. And then I make the notes and stuff like that. It stays in my mind better.
Yeah.
Like my retention increases, right?
Okay.
And it's good for focus and all this stuff. So I understand, Mike. Mike, thank you so much for keeping me in mind and stuff like that. Okay, so what book do you want? What reward do you want?
I have to think about it. Let me get back to you because there's so many books that I've actually listened on audio that I thought to myself, I need to buy this book. So let me go through my library and then I will tell you the book. Oh, I'm excited. Yes, yes.
You remember Atomic Habit, the book that you haven't seen?
Yes.
So do you remember
You know who's reading it right now?
Raquel?
Yep.
Of course she is. Of course she is.
My kids are not happy with me at this moment, but I was like, listen, I'm your mother, and part of me is helping you to develop. So Jesse's reading the seven habits for teens.
Oh,
There's a teens version.
Yeah, there is.
He was not happy. You should. I was like, I'm sorry, buddy. I'll pay you $10 after you're done. He didn't even care about the $10. And then Raquel, I was like, listen, you're reading this book. So she so far I asked her, I was like, what do you think? She's like, it is intense because of the story that it begins with, right?
Yeah.
So highly recommend if you are in your journey to just develop better habits or have a better understanding, Atomic Habits is your best friend.
I would say that if you're gonna get on this road to personal development, I would highly recommend Atomic Habit or The Power of Habit.
I like Atomic Habits better than The Power of Habit.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So but both of them talk about habit, right?
Yeah.
And so I would highly recommend these two books as your first read.
Yeah.
Because then it sets the pace to take on personal development as a habit.
So what would be your top 3 book recommendations for developing starting your personal personal development journey?
Yeah, so I would say Atomic Habit would be number 1.
Yeah.
Then the Stranger's Secret by Earl Nightingale.
Okay.
And then 21 Irrefutable Laws to Leadership by John C. Maxwell.
Ooh, I have that book actually. I should need to read it.
So good. It just, whether you are in a leadership position as a church, or you're manager of a store or whatever, or a business owner or an entrepreneur, or even if you're just an employee, 21 Irrefutable Laws to Leadership really gets you. I think out of all the books that I've read, it is the one book that I've quoted the most.
Really?
Yeah. Because there are 21 principles that every leader should know to be able for helping and guiding people and stuff. Like that's where you get the secret, The Secret.
Yeah.
She got that from that book, right? The Power of Influence, the what's it called?
I'm like, I don't know what book this would be. Do you guys know that book?
No, stop. The glass, not the glass ceiling. Law of the Lid.
Okay, I've never read that one.
Law of navigation, the law of process. There's so many things, and again, it's the one book that I quote the absolute most. I'm actually reading it for the 3rd time now.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
Right now, I'm reading it for the book that I'm reading currently, and I think it's going to be my book till the end of the year. Is Think and Grow Rich. There's so incredible principles in there. Yeah. But these are my book recommendations if you are starting your journey towards personal development. I have a different one. I do have The Power of Habit.
But not as the first one.
No, sorry, not The Power of Habit. What's the other one? Atomic Habits. I
Yeah.
think Atomic Habits, for me, it's the best habit book than any other books.
Okay.
I've read what's The Power of Grit or something like that deals with habits as well.
Yeah.
I've read The Power of Habits, and then I've read Atomic Habits.
So I have a workshop that I created based on that book.
Yeah, it's so good. So not The Power of Habit. Atomic Habits would be one of them. This book about patience, the most beautiful book you will ever read. And the reason why I say this book is incredible is because it actually primes your mind to realize that it's going to take time, and it's okay for it to take time, and that you go through different seasons in life. And I really feel like it's such a great book to prep you for a personal development journey, because it does not happen overnight.
Yeah.
And then the next book would be The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
That's such a good book.
Yeah. The reason why I say that book is because it takes you through the whole journey of actually understanding the importance of creating like a vision for yourself, and where do you see yourself, and understanding your roles in your life, understanding that you wear different hats, and then how you can accomplish your goals based on the different roles that you have. And then it talks about like what is that, the saw, sharpening your own saw, and making sure that you take care of your body, your mind, and your spirit, right? So I think those 3 books would be my top 3.
So it looks like we have where would Atomic Habit place? First, second, or third book? Because I put them in order.
You put them in order? I think for me, I would do, oh shoot, that's a hard one. I think I would do the Atomic Habits as 1. And then I would do Patience as 2. And then I would do the 7 Habits as 3. Because I feel like that will prime you to be like, you know what, it's okay for it to take time. Like having patience is actually a virtue that gives you so much more.
So why don't we do, because we're starting a book club, right?
Yeah, book club.
And so why don't we say our first book will be The Atomic Habit?
Hold up. We're doing that. You're reading if we do The Atomic Habit, we should do the book you're reading though. Or do you want to do The Atomic Habit?
No, we'll do The Atomic Habit.
Okay.
Because I think we're both in agreement that The Atomic Habit it sets the tone for personal development.
Yeah,
right?
1% better. It gives you the mindset of like just improvement.
1%, and that's a huge part. 1% better. But the thing about it is that change needs to be a habit. Like you're not just gonna go to the gym one time and expect to be the strongest person.
You know what
There's a process, right?
And
for it to become a habit, second nature.
I think.
Sorry,
I just get so excited. But I think what I love the most about this book is that it gives you the ability to create habits based on your identity.
Yeah.
Because that's where we mess up. Sometimes we want to create habits, but they're not really habits that are meaningful to us.
Yeah.
And they don't, like, we're just doing it because somebody else is doing it.
Yeah.
But I think when we start from the inside out approach, it's so much more, it's better. It sticks.
So I'll do the audio version of The Atomic Habit.
I have audio too, so
because I already read it and you took it. And then I'll do the reading version of RX.
Okay.
So do you want to do the book club?
Book club. Let's start off with
Atomic Habit.
Atomic Habits. Okay, we got to figure out when we're starting book club. But hey, if you're interested in signing up for book club, make sure you tell us, comment in the comments, and just say book club. That way we can jot your name down, and when we do launch it, you can be the first one to know. Okay?
Yeah. So how it's gonna work? I wasn't paying attention. What did you say?
I just make sure that our beautiful, beautiful listeners knew that we're doing book club. And if they're interested, make sure you add it in the comments and just say book club.
Yeah. So we'll start a page, and then what we'll do is we'll put a timeline, and when we by when should you have this book read by? Let's say 30 days, and then 30 days we'll go live, and then have a round discussion, like maybe in a Zoom, and invite people in.
Yeah.
To just have a discussion about the book.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Hey, babe. Listen.
So.
Beb is amazing. I'm pretty sure, Beb, you read this book too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to this, I will. The reason why I said the Atomic Habits, because the 3 parts to making a habit: cue, routine, reward. Mm-hmm. Right. And so cue, routine, reward. And
you'll be practicing as you read the book.
I know what?
As you read the other book. Anyway, go ahead.
No, if I want you to be not tardy, if I want you to be on time, we need to attach a reward to the system.
Oh yeah, so I will tell you what book I
So
want.
you need to tell me the book, and if you can get to 60 plus minutes of overtime, of surplus, then I'll get you the book.
Okay.
So right now you're in the minus of 8 minutes.
Okay. I will get there. And I
Look at
have
that.
10 sessions, right?
Did you see what I just did there, people? I'm fixing her. I'm
You're
fixing her.
You're watching real life, like,
Yeah.
me being fixed.
Yo soy el Dr. Phil Latino. I am the Dr. Phil Latino essay. So let's discuss your problem. Okay, so today we have a very interesting show.
Yes. I read it. I was like, I cannot say the word Nepo.
So it's nepotism.
Nepotism? Okay. Nepotism.
Yeah.
I was like, nipple babies? I'm like, what? Just kidding.
A nipple? Yeah, she's like, a nipple baby? Like, what are you talking about, a nipple? That's so... Okay.
Hold on. Bev is saying yes, but I want to reread it and do worksheets they offer as well. Yes. It's honestly a book you just... Yes, absolutely. I think this book, I always read it at the beginning of the year.
Atomic Habit?
Yeah. So my 3 books that I read at the beginning of the year, Atomic Habit, The Power of Patience, and Anxiety RX.
You know the guy Proctor?
Proctor, yeah. Bob Proctor.
Bob Proctor? He
Proctor.
he has a book that he carries with him all the time. I think it's Think and Grow Rich
Yeah.
by Napoleon Hill. Like
Listen, that book is so good.
But it's a pocket size. Like he will, everywhere he goes, he carries it with him, and then he goes. There's not a day that goes by for the last 30 years of his life that he doesn't read it every day.
And I get that. Honestly, the power of the book
Yeah.
is incredible. I've been reading it for the last 2 months, and I have seen my self-confidence
Yeah.
improve so much more.
Yeah. So we'll get to that book. We'll get to that
It's so
book.
good. It's such a good book.
Okay. So today's podcast is going to be very, very interesting, right? So here's what's going to happen. It's 3 different subjects.
Okay. So chaotic.
It's not chaotic. It's different. What did I put here? So let's
Nipple
read.
babies?
No, not
Sorry, Nepo babies?
Nepo. Did I tell you the story about Seth and
A Nepo baby?
and no, in the nipples?
No, I did not hear that story.
So Vision to Success is your what? So Vision to Success is your go-to podcast for all the things success related, hosted by the dynamic duo Maria and Miguel. Tune in every Monday at 10 a.m. airs as we dive good into the bad, the downright ugly of everything that you need to know to achieve your dreams. Here's today's episode. In today's episode, we're mixing things up with this wild discussion that promises to be entertaining as it is enlightening.
I'm excited to actually hear your thoughts because this is so
I know,
outside of our, like, my realm. It's
I
not
know.
something that we usually discuss.
but it's gonna come. It's right back around.
Okay.
Exactly right. Really good. What does Nepo babies, hot weather, and final words have in common?
I don't know.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And this is where we see our viewership decrease.
But we're gonna explore it anyway. So
Okay.
the first one, Nepo babies.
Okay, what about this topic? Like, what do you want to discuss with regards to this?
Have you heard what's going on with Kim Kardashian and Kanye West and Northwest?
No, I have not.
You haven't.
No, I haven't.
Oh.
Okay, do fill me in. Tell me.
It's insane. So The Lion King, and the reason why I that doesn't bother me, but so anyways, so Disney was having like a 35-year anniversary
Okay.
for like The Lion King, whatever, like a live musical, whatever, and they had some A-list cast
Okay.
coming back and just singing. So what's her face? She won American, or not Aretha Franklin. Anyways, I forget what her name is. Big names, powerful voices, whatever.
Jennifer Hudson?
Jennifer Hudson.
Okay.
Yeah, Jennifer Hudson. That's it. Yeah, good job. See how in sync we are? This is ugly. Like, it's disgusting. I'm thinking of something and she's finishing it.
It is kind of weird. Where
But this is the thing is, all I said was powerful.
But you did say American Idol. You did.
It doesn't
put
matter.
that.
We're like at the 20th season. It could have been anyone. And you're like, Jennifer Hudson. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's weird.
Okay.
So anyways, so she, and then people from the original cast were hosts. Like, they don't have voices anymore, right? And some of them were like, so like the little Simba kid, right? He was a host. He was helping. Anyways, long story short, they were, before the production took place, they were asking for reels, like people to apply, little kids to apply to sing the now I just can't wait to be a king.
Okay.
So all of these kids were submitting videos.
Okay.
Right. Like, and then there's actually a reel of all the kids that did submit. Powerful, powerful. Like, we're talking about from Africa, we're talking from Australia, like all over the world, right? And so they're starting to narrow it down. And so they invited a couple of kids to come into the studio, fly them down and whatever. And then on the 11th hour, like almost like a week before final production, or, you know, whatever, a couple or a month or whatever. Anyways, Kim Kardashian walks into the room, and, like where all the decision makers are. And so she's like, we got one more. And she introduces Northwest, which is her daughter. Her name is North. And then she started singing. And somebody was like, thank you. We've heard enough. And like, no, give her another shot. And then rumors say that she gave money, whatever. And then like they gave her another.
So she's casted. Is that what you're saying?
So she got casted.
As the
but here's the thing is, right, production time. So they gave her a production call sheet and be like, these are the times we're going to rehearse. And then she like, my daughter doesn't rehearse. Like she's going to be so busy. So anyways, so she shows up at the day of the event. They teach her, like, she doesn't know any other choreography. They teach her like a 1-2 step side to side. Like that's it. And just to stand on the X kind of thing. And I feel bad. I honestly feel bad, and it's not her fault.
Now I have to watch it.
But she is not a singer.
Okay.
Like she is not a singer.
Okay.
And everybody was very supportive. And it was like, cheering and, oh, congratulations, whatever. But the clash, like the feedback, they've been horrible. Like, anyways, and so they're calling her a Nepo baby. And then so anyway, so now the other thing is that she took an opportunity because of her and who her parents are. She took an opportunity from 3 other kids that worked really, really hard up until that point. Yeah. Until the 11th hour where she just walked in with her mom, right? So I agree and I don't agree.
Okay. What do you agree with? Like, okay, explain to me what you agree with and what you don't agree with.
So they've been very harsh on her.
On
social media.
On North.
On
or on Kim Kardashian, or both.
Kim Kardashian, well, they make fun of her for she can't sing, but she's just a kid. I'm like, leave her alone, right? Yeah. It's not her fault. And but mostly on Kim and saying that, her power of influence and all this other stuff. Whatever. Yeah. So I agree and I don't agree. And here's my thing. And I want to know first of all, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so my whole concept with Nepo babies is, have you ever heard with like pride going down and pride going up? So there's 2 types of pride, right? There's a type of pride when you're very successful and you're like, I'm like here and this should be mine because I'm successful, right? Okay. But there's also the type of pride where it's like people who are like maybe not as successful criticizing people who are successful and believing that they take chances away from other people. Okay. Right? So having said that, so those are the 2 prides that I always think about. I don't think pride is just something that comes with money and richness. I think pride is something that we all struggle with. Okay. Having said that, I believe that some Nepo babies get like attacked for no reason. There's nothing that they could ever do right because anything that they do, any work that they put in, it's always going to set that's been given to them because of who they know or the money they have. Right? Okay. So I think there's always going to be people that feel that way about certain Nepo babies. Having also said that, there is also situations where, who your parents know do make a difference and you may have more of a leg up with having opportunities like this, like North. Yeah. Now, was she supposed to be there? Did she herself take away the opportunity? She might have, but I'm like, I don't know. Like I to me, it just seems like it's something that I wouldn't personally have it. Like, my opinion is not of anger. My opinion is of, you know what? Kim Kardashian did what she thought she was best for her kid. Was it the best? Clearly not, because she actually was not as good at it. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not one to like full blown criticize every single Nepo baby because I've seen so many ugly things said about Hailey Bieber and like all these things. And in reality, can some be true? I'm like, maybe. I'm like, but there's other aspects that even though you have money and you have opportunity, it doesn't mean that you don't actually have to work hard for what you have. You can have all the money in the world and still struggle. Hence, people will still have depression, suicide still happen, and they have all these things in this world, right? So that's my opinion.
So, yeah. So here's what I'm thinking. For when it comes to her, leave her alone, right?
Yeah, I'm like, you should never be criticizing a kid.
It's a kid, right? Like,
Exactly.
I mean, you're an ugly, ugly person if you start whatever.
And she's also a product of her environment, right?
Right,
Like,
right. That's right. Absolutely. But with Kim Kardashian opening up this door for her, I see two ends. Number one, it sucks that she took away opportunities from these whatever.
but I'm like, should this be on her or should this be on the actual cast? Like on the actual production that did say, okay, well, whatever, it's Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, and whoever played a role in this, just like, yeah, absolutely, right? But here's the thing is, right, I work really, really hard to give my kids opportunities.
So do I, right?
Right, like, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I did not graduate. I didn't finish high school.
Yeah.
Right, I did not. My status is opposite of, I should not be as successful as I am, right? Because I'm missing 1, maybe 2 credits from high school, and I have 1 year dropout from Ryerson University. I went to Ryerson, and I was like, this is not for me. I can't focus. I can't concentrate. I dropped 10 grand in my first year because I went in as a mature student because I was missing a credit. And then I was like 1 year in, I'm like, I can't do this. Like my brain just doesn't function this way, right? And so I should not be having the success that I should be having on paper, right? But I'm working really hard to put not only food on the table and roof over my heads, but also to give my kids an opportunities for the future. Here's the thing is, I think that at some point these kids have to work hard. Like, for example, Eminem.
Yeah. Like what I don't agree with the whole thing with North is that she should have been there at every single audition. She should have been there. Like if she's signing up for this and they're giving her the opportunity, the expectation from production should have been like, hey, that like you need to be here, and if you're not here, you're not starting. Right? Yeah. So I think it's multiple levels here.
Even the singing. Like she should not.
Exactly. So whose fault is that? I'm like, that's
you haven't heard her
No, I haven't, right? But I'm like, I truly believe that there's multiple people that should be to blame. And for me, in specific, is the production. You are there to maintain the quality of the product, right? You failed. It doesn't matter how successful somebody else is. You did not maintain the quality of the product, right? So that's on them.
Yeah. So Eminem just had his daughter Haley. She just got married. Yeah. And she went to, I think it was like an Ivy League school with a 3.9 on the dean's list. Okay. So no amount of money that Eminem has ever produced, and we're talking about a multi-billionaire. Yeah. Right, millionaire. Could have bought her grades. Like she still had to do the work, right? And so here's a perfect example of a Nepo baby, right? Like, I mean, she got into a good school. The dad was able to get her an education, whatever. But the grades, like she still had to work for it. Yeah. So I believe I believe in nepotism, not to the degree that everybody's talking about. Yeah. Right. I believe that as parents, we work really, really hard to give opportunities to our kids. 100%. Open up the door. But for them to be successful, walking through those doors and being and doing something out of, it still needs to fall on the children and their environment. And I think you're right. I think that production cast just really screwed up. Yeah, for sure. So here's the question that one of the things that I dislike is the word privilege. I really dislike that word. No, I hate that. We're going to get into opinions here. And by all means, if you feel differently, I'm A-okay with you feeling differently. But I think now in society, we're so afraid to voice our opinions. And I don't want to fall under that because it's okay. It's healthy to have different opinions and to have friends that have different opinions. So this is our last podcast, just to let you know. Because Maria's going to be airing some opinions here, right? Okay. So let me get you started, okay? Yeah. I'm in these landlord and tenant groups, right? And I'm in other groups. Recently, there's been some changes in taxes. There's been changes in the laws. And if you don't know with regards to tenants and landlords, tenants in Ontario have a ton of rights. Yeah. Which I understand. There's also some really crummy landlords, right? But you have to understand there's also very crummy tenants. So whenever anybody encounters crummy tenant per se, it can take up to a year to actually evict. And keep in mind that property gets trashed. There's no rental income coming in. So this is a long-term kind of thing, right? Yeah. Anyway,
So I had to unfollow this group because I was annoyed with it, right? They were talking with regards to something with regards to with rent and like having an investment property. And a ton of people went there and talked about how privileged people were, like, because privilege sometimes is used in a negative context,
Yeah.
right? Like, look at your privilege, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this person was like, well, look at your privilege. Like, your privilege is showing because you're able to have an investment property and you must have money and you must have this, that, and the other. Let me tell you, I had to unfollow it because people are like, some people are commenting on it and they're like, it is a common misconception to believe that a person who has an investment property has more money, because sometimes these landlords are actually done at a loss. Like, yeah, they're actually renting out at a loss. The other thing is not privilege, is actually the ability to use the knowledge that you're gaining. Because keep in mind, if you are going to get into real estate investment, there's knowledge that needs to be acquired. And using that knowledge.
You worked hard on this, like the last 5 years.
5 years, people.
Yeah.
And so to me, I was like, oh, it's easy for people. People just see sometimes the success and the things that come across, and to have an investment property, especially during this economic times, it's, you know what? It is a huge blessing.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, that is not that the property was like, bam, there you are, because Maria, you're so cool. That was not the case. It was 5 years of work, right? Yeah. And then I was talking to Raquel about this, because me and Raquel have like this. My daughter, she's when I asked her to read personal development, she was like, "Do I have to? You already give me TED Talks every day." Anyway, so then she made me laugh because I was telling her the situation. I was like, listen, I'm like, sometimes privilege is being used in this context. And it's like, and so she's like, well, I guess you are privileged because you were able to use the information and be smart enough to read. I was like,
and you know what it is? It's a certain groups that take a word that was supposed to be good. Privilege, having privilege or having an opportunity, like all of these things are not bad words. It's what the media,
context.
the content, what the media has done. They've taken these words and they've destroyed it, and then they've blacklisted a word. So now when we say it, we're like, we can't say it.
And you know what happens? People become apologetic of actually achieving any kind of success, right? Sometimes I see people apologize and be like, well, like somebody was asking about financial advice in one of those groups that I'm in. And she's like, I know right now things are really hard for everybody else, but I have a little extra money on my checking account. What should I do? Again, I know everybody else is going through difficult times, so please know that I know that this is real. I'm like,
no, I know.
Do not. When you get to a point that you have to be apologetic, and then it messes with your psyche, because then you're like, oh, being successful must mean something's bad because other people. Exactly. It must mean that, like, I'm taking away from someone else if I'm successful. If you are successful, you're not taking anything away. There is enough. Then there's more than enough for everybody. Yeah. The thing is that it requires work, right?
Kevin Hart talks about it too all the time. And there was one podcast where he says that right now what people see is like, who's this guy? He came out of nowhere, right?
But they don't see the actual years.
He doesn't say that he was almost evicted, that he was struggling, he wasn't eating for days on end, that he was going up to comedy clubs and people were booing him, people were throwing beer bottles at him. He goes, they don't see all of that. All of this, all that they see is that he had one good viral video special and he got picked up by something else and he got picked up by something else. Like, where did this kid come from? And he blew up, right? And he blew up. Yeah. Because they don't see the 10, 20 years that I put into this before this, right?
Stephen Harvey has the same thing. Like, the guy was homeless, sleeping in his car, like, wasn't able to make ends meet. Yeah. But yet, whenever you see him, it's like this whole thing about he came out of nowhere.
Matt Rife, the exact same thing. You know Matt Rife. Really good looking comedian.
Okay.
And that year he was going to quit.
Yeah.
And then he went to a party or he went to a stand up and then somebody recorded and it wasn't good quality. And he's like, I don't know if I want to do this. And I just put it up. Who cares? But then that one video was the thing that made him go viral. And then all of a sudden he started blowing up into all these different things, right? The same thing with Jim from The Office.
Yeah.
Same thing. 3-4 years of just like struggling, called his mom up and said, Mom, come pick me up. I'm done with this. Yeah. And the mom was like, you know what? Just give it one more day. And she kept telling him that every day, just one more day. And he landed The Office as his first gig. And so people don't see that. And then when you get this, oh, you're privileged. Oh, it's because like, you know, it's who you know and all these
or money makes, but you must have this ton of money. When in reality, it's like, no,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. So
if we can share any kind of words of, or at least if I can share any kind of words of advice, is that if you catch yourself having this thought process, ask yourself why, like,
Yeah.
and then be mindful, because your thought processes and the things that you think get trickled down to your kids.
Yeah.
And you're making your
yeah.
mindset generational. So
Yeah.
if you want your kids to be successful, it actually starts with our own thoughts, right?
And that's the thing is poverty is not generational. Thinking is.
Yeah.
Right?
Thinking is generational.
And so my father was an entrepreneur. My father was a hard worker. And he taught me the value of working hard and putting in your hours.
Yeah.
That's what he taught me, right? We didn't come from money,
Yeah.
right? But he was a hard worker. He built a house. He built homes in the back. When he came here, he had 2 jobs. My dad was a hard worker. That's what he instilled in me.
Yeah.
Not money. He didn't leave anything behind. He
Yeah.
left $5,000 for my mom,
Yeah.
right? But he didn't leave anything for me. And so, but that character trait of getting up every morning and doing your stuff.
And being early, 15 minutes
and
early.
being 15 minutes early, right? Absolutely.
That
right?
character trait is trickled down to me.
To you now, right? So
Exactly.
now from one sibling to another, there you go, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
it's oh man, I cannot even begin to tell you how hardcore that statement is, that what you think will trickle down to your children, right? Because it stems, bullying is the exact same thing, poverty, wealth,
Yeah.
all that other stuff. It's what you leave in them.
Yeah,
that
that's
counts.
really your legacy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think when I think about that, I'm like, dang, my kids are gonna get the best version that I can give them, and I'm sure that they're gonna pick up some negative habits from me. But hey, they'll work through that. They'll be fine.
Don't worry, they're
they'll
reading
work through
books.
it.
They're reading books. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. So that was just the whole Nepo thing. It was like I think people are getting angry for the wrong reasons.
I think if you're gonna be angry at the friggin' producers
The
that
producer.
agreed to this, and then agreed to have her not rehearse at all.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian was being a parent. As a parent, would you not push your kid to have better opportunities?
Yeah.
Like when you're thinking about that, and you're thinking about like parents opening up their doors for kids, ask yourself, would I do that to my kid? And if the answer is yes, then
Yeah.
at that point, is it really like, I mean, you could criticize, but be mindful that the negative feelings will come as well.
Yeah. And people love to hate the upper class too.
Oh,
right?
100%.
And so
But here was what happened. You hate the upper class, then it does something in your subconscious, and then you end up
Yes.
deterring money.
yeah, because you don't want to be an upper class, because then you're gonna be hated, because that's
That's
their
what people
mentality.
exactly, right? You don't attract something that you hate. Is that what it is? Yeah, you don't attract something that you hate. You attract who you are. So if you want to have a better life in whatever aspect, first is always work on the inner vessel. Listen.
Dropping some truth bombs here.
Listen, I'm like, I have a lot of opinions. You don't want people are gonna
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the first part. The second part, we're going to be getting some really hot weathers.
Oh, 40. I know, like 40
plus.
degrees.
I think at one point we're going to be at 45.
Listen, I'm like, I don't understand why kids have to keep going to school. The report cards were already written.
Don't even get me started on that. But anyways.
I'm like, let me just keep my kids home all this like next 3 weeks.
Yeah. Anyways. So I put together a couple of ideas of some things that you can do this week to kind of stay cool. Well, I got some activities for indoor and outdoor activities, but mostly how to stay cool and how to do things at home. So some do-it-yourself projects,
Okay.
board games, reading, virtual tours,
Yeah.
right? So there's tons of stuff out there right now where you can actually go to the moon virtually.
Is it on YouTube? You can just type it on YouTube, I guess, and you can
No,
probably go.
there's a
Or it's
website.
NASA?
Yeah, it's probably by NASA. Yeah, but it's you just log in, whatever, and then you're on this rover, and then you can control it, and you can tell it where to go and all these different things, and it just maps it out and it just does it.
Here's what I have a recommendation that I also have. You ready?
The moon's flat.
How did you know? No, just kidding.
Moon landing was a fake.
Mulan is a fake. Our world is flat. There's a lot of theories that I have in my mind.
That's what's gonna get us canceled. It wasn't the privilege. It was this whole moonlight. I do have my doubts about the moonlight, but then we've talked about. I'm not saying it did not happen.
He
I just say
definitely-
no.
He's like,
I
it's
just say
okay. That's what we're. It shows that you can be friends with someone who has a different thought process than you.
I believe it may have happened. I just have questions. I just have one or two questions. That's it.
Yeah.
And then I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm curious. If I want to know how build bigger leg muscles and I ask questions, how do you do it? It doesn't mean I'm against the leg muscle building. That's just I want to know how it happened or how it happens. So I believe that it may have happened or it did happen. I just have one or two questions. That's it. And the earth is not flat.
There's a great documentary on Netflix about the earth being flat.
Oh, for or against?
It was the guy. There's a community of people that do believe the earth is flat, and they have a lot of material and like ideas of why they support it.
I can't see. Here's my problem. I can't watch anything like that.
No.
Because if I do, I'm going to actively be promoting it.
I will believe
it. You know the amount of crap that I buy, right? This will give you wings. This will make you grow more hair. Like I've purchased every single that shopping network. I've put so many kids through college.
Yeah, you're a buyer.
I am a buyer. I'm a believer. The minute I don't fact check anything, it's like, oh my gosh, 9 out of 10 doctors recommend. I'm like, 9 doctors said it was okay, and I will buy it. So I can't watch any of that stuff.
So our common friend Michelle, she loves that kind of stuff. So she sent me. She told me about it. So I kind of watched it.
She's a flat earther?
No, she's not. But she has a friend that is. I think she does. She has a friend that has definitely more theories with regards to that and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she told me about it, and I did watch it, and I'm really bad. I fall asleep often, so I kind of fell asleep.
Did you fall asleep at the movies?
No, where at the last movie that we watched?
We all went to the movie.
The last little bit was tough for me. I was like, I went to the movies recently, and
we all went to the movies.
Yeah, not just me and him.
Yeah.
With our spouses.
With our
when I say we, I mean our spouses too. Anyway, yes, go ahead. So,
did you fall asleep?
Where? At the movies?
Yeah.
A little bit at the end.
Oh no, sorry. You were talking about the flat earther. You fall asleep.
No. Oh, the advice that I was gonna give before we got into this is that let your kids be bored as well. Boredom is actually a really good thing. It exercises your imagination, right? And imagination is needed for everything to create life. Like you create life out of your imagination. So let your kids be bored. Whenever my kids are like, I'm bored, I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm like, it's an opportunity for you to exercise your imagination.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so let your kids be bored. That way they'll find things to do and to entertain themselves. It's a good skill to have.
Don't allow devices.
Yes, no devices. When you're bored, no devices. Like, figure something else to do that does not include devices.
And that includes television.
Yeah, any kind of electronics.
So no electronics.
I told my kids, too. I was like, hey, listen, guys. I'm like, once summer is done, I'm like, we are going to have an hour, maybe more, of unstructured time where you just have to figure it out. No devices, no TV, no anything. Figure it out.
Oh, wow.
So I'll keep you posted. We'll see how it goes.
I would love to be a fly on the wall when you're like...
Flash Miguel. It's my little one, the one that has the most difficulty, like, finding stuff to do.
So when this whole hot weather, guys, when just forewarning you guys, when you go out, make sure that's either early in the morning or in the evening. Go for a walk. So when the sun is not high, water park, beach trips, sprinkler, slip and slide, right? Go kayaking, take a picnic in the shade.
Make sure you're drinking water.
Drink a lot of water.
Yeah, don't get dehydrated.
Yeah, and then gardening, right? And for indoors activities, visit the museum, go to theaters, go to swimming pool, indoor mall. Bowling, skating, home movie, marathon. I like that one. Cooking, baking, and yoga and fitness. So.
There you go.
Just let you guys know. Be careful. It's going to be hot. Mm-hmm. So here's what I really want to get to. Final words.
Okay. I'm excited to hear your final words.
So with Father's Day.
Yeah.
Right. Father's Day for me has been really, really hard.
I was thinking of you. I was gonna message you, but I was worried that like I would trigger something, so I didn't.
Yeah, even the talks. Every time that they talk about something, like, so again, I sit in. Last year was horrible. Last year I could not control like the waterworks, right? So I'm up there, and then I'm afraid because people were looking at me, and I fear like I was making it about me, right? But I just could not hold back the tears. So this year, what is happening here? So then this year, I worked really, really hard to kind of contain myself. Anytime anybody starts talking about fathers or I watch a movie about fathers, you have to understand that I loved my father. He was my hero. I wanted to be like him growing up. He's just, anyways, I loved him. And so any opportunity, like whatever, like I would. So anyways, so yesterday I was thinking about him and his final words, and then I started thinking about Lehi.
Okay.
And then Lehi, right before he passed away, like the advice that he gave his children. So Levi is a
Lehi.
Lehi.
You said Levi, I think.
Lehi.
Yeah.
No, Lehi. My bad. Not Levi. Levi hasn't passed away.
Levi's alive and kicking.
Yeah. So Lehi is a scripture reference, is a character, is not a character, a person, a prophet. And in his deathbed, he looks over his children and he starts giving them like that final blessing, right? Like some final words of advice. And so with my father and being Father's Day, I started thinking of all, like, what would I say on my final last words, right?
Yeah.
So I went online and I typed in what's the most common regrets or final words of people before they pass away.
Can I guess?
So yeah, so yes, you can. So I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let you know the reference where I got this from.
Okay.
This is according to the organization Old Colony Hospice and Palliative Care Organization.
Yeah.
I forget where they are, but it's just a colony that it's a village, and if you're in palliative care and you're in your final days, you go there and it's surrounded by nurses, and they just make your final days like really, really, really good.
It is beautiful. My mother-in-law was in a hospice the last 2 weeks, end of life, and it was such a beautiful environment. It's very homey.
Yeah.
And then all the family can come and stay there and be with them.
It's a bunch of cottages, and it's just like it's really, really cool. So I got this. It's 5 things they said, and yeah, from these the most common things that they hear when people are crossing the veil.
Okay, let me guess.
So yeah, guess
I want to guess. I should have spent more time with my family.
Hang on one second. One of them is
being more present, more family time.
Yeah. So I wish I had stayed. No, not that one.
Oh, okay. Here, let's go through them, and I'll be like, the other one that I think is that I should have like I should have pursued the things that I loved.
Yes. Yeah, that's one. So there's 5.
Okay, let's talk about it each.
It says, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself and not a life others expected me to live.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Yeah, this was the most common and regretted above all. When people realize that their life is almost over, they look back clearly on it, and it's easy to see how dreams have gone unfulfilled. Mm-hmm. Most people do not honor even half of their dreams and had to die knowing that was due to a choice they had made or not was made upon them.
Yeah, I can see that. Les Brown talks about when you're in your deathbed, you're going to have the unborn things that were meant to be yours, right? Like the things that God gave you, the dreams that he gave you, the things that you needed to do in this life, and they're going to be there. And going to be like, what did you do with me, man?
Yeah.
You didn't give me life.
Yeah, and what gets me from that story, what he says, he goes, now we must die with you.
I know. I heard it. And if you hear Les Brown's, his voice is so powerful that I'm pretty sure I was crying when I heard that. And I was like, heck to the no. I am going to live out my life to the best of my ability.
Yeah. Number 2 is, I wish I didn't work so hard.
Yeah.
This comes from every male patient that I nursed, he says. They miss their children, their youth, and their partners' companionships. When also women spoke this regret, but as most were from older generations. Many of the female patients had not come from a breadwinner.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with this one because if I don't work hard, then I can't give my kids opportunity.
But it's not that way. I think you're still very present, right? You work hard, but you still ensure that you do these things like these one-on-one things with your kids and that you're present and you're there for the parenting and the discipline. Like you're there, right? Yeah. And you are also there in the things like church events. Like you're very much there. Yeah. Even though you work hard, you're there. I think this is more where career comes first and family comes second. Because I remember listening to this guy that I follow. He's a successful entrepreneur. And he talks about family, right?
Yeah.
And he says, you know what? Just because I'm working hard doesn't mean that I'm not prioritizing my family. Prioritizing his family to him was to ensure that he made sure he called his wife every day when he was away. He made sure to talk to his kids every day. When he came in, he was fully present, because let me tell you, like, you don't have to work hard, but are you present with your family? And do you have your phone out and your kids are trying to talk to you? And like, so that's the thing. I'm like, as long you can work hard, you can have a successful career, but you need to ensure that you're present there with your family as well, for the highs, for the lows, and for the in-betweens.
Yeah.
So I think you're fine. I think with that you're gonna.
Yeah.
But I see why that would be a sticky one, because you are busy and you do work hard in different aspects of your life.
I'm putting like 40, 50, 60 hours sometimes a week, and it's just it's about the appropriate balance.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes we think about balance being like a perfect. I believe that there's no perfection in that. There is going to be times where work may take 80% of your time.
Yeah.
But what are you doing with that 20%?
Yeah. Is it are you being present for that 20%?
Exactly. And are you ensuring that you get all the things that you need done so you can increase that time with your kids, right? Yeah. So I think balances are always shifting. We just need to ensure that we are setting our priorities straight. So
we actually have a comment here about the moon landing.
Okay, go ahead, read it.
It says, there are a lot of controversies about the moon landing, footage, shadows, and a straight flag, etc. But they collected a lot of rocks to be analyzed. The rocks are the evidence I needed.
There you go. So maybe NASA Museum. Maybe one day you can just check it out.
Again, so listen. I don't want to get all this hate mail saying that it never happened.
It's okay. Just believe what you believe.
I do believe it.
Believe what you believe.
Don't
be scared.
I'm not scared. Well, I'm scared of being like hated upon. I do believe it. I just have a question. Maybe two. That's it. It's curiosity.
That's fine. Anyway, go ahead. What was the third?
Let's move on to my final words, because these are probably going to be my final. People are going to be chasing me and finding me. I wish. Oh shoot. Okay, it says here, be true to yourself.
That's right. Just embrace it.
Bev, go away.
That's what I'm saying. Live your truth.
I believe in the landing. People. Break. Number 3. This is my favorite one.
Okay.
I wish I had the courage to express my feelings.
Oh, yes.
Many people suppress their feelings in order to keep the peace with others. As a result, they settle for a mediocre existence and never become who they really are or truly capable of becoming.
People pleasing right there, right? People pleasing.
I like it because this pertains to me. I think this is the one that I'm going to be saying when I'm on my bed. That's 100%.
You wish you would have given everybody your 2 cents?
I wish I would have just talked to them and be like, the moon landing never happened.
No, it just would have been true to myself.
It just never happened.
You can yell it, right? That could be your last words.
Yeah, when Braveheart is freedom.
I know.
Like fake landing.
And then you're gone.
No, I believe in the moon landing. So
it's okay. Nobody, even if people judge, it's okay. Live your truth.
I believe in the moon landing. Go away. So number 4. Number 4. I wish I had to stay in touch with my friends. Often they would not truly realize the full benefit of an old friends after dying until their dying week, and was not possible to track them down anymore. Many become caught up in their own lives that they had left golden friendships slip over the years. There may be deep regrets about not giving friendships the time, the opportunity that they deserve, even the forgiveness.
Yeah.
That I'm adding the forgiveness part here.
Yeah.
But
I think that's so important. And that's the thing. It's like marriage. Marriage, you have to work at it. I'm like, friendships is the same thing. You got to put in. Yeah. Okay. Oh, man.
And number 5, the last one, which I'm surprised that this was not in here, but I can bet you almost that it should have been. It's probably like number 6 or whatever. But
did you add it? Sorry, does that mean you added it?
I will be adding it after this one.
Okay.
So I have one that I know for sure would have made it. I'm surprised that it's not here.
Okay.
But this is the last one. It says here, I wish I had let myself be happier. There is a surprisingly common one. Many did not realize until the end of their happiness is a choice. Fear of a chance had them pretending to others and themselves that they were content. When deep within, they longed to laugh properly and have silliness in their lives again. When you are dying, what others think of you is a long away from your mind, and how wonderful it is able to be to smile. And now you can't have it because you are about to die, or because you're dying.
You're about to die. You cannot have it.
Before you are dying. Yeah, you can't be happy anymore. That's it.
Your chance is done.
Yeah, your chance is done to laugh. But yeah, just I see this all the time, that people don't want to be silly, don't want to laugh because they're afraid of what people think. But then when it's like, when they stop caring what people think, they live their best life
True
ever.
that. Did I tell you I yelled at some, not yelled in a positive way. I was encouraging. Did I tell you, was it last week that we were at a baseball game? And then me and the kids were driving to go pick up something. And there was no, it wasn't. I would yell encouraging things at a bunch of kids. I never yell negative things. I only yell encouraging things, right? But there was these probably about 30 bikers, like bicycle bikers.
Yeah.
And they were trying to cross, so I stopped so they could cross and like continue their cycling thing. And as they were like cycling, these are all men in like their 30s, maybe 40s, I don't know, maybe 50s. I have no idea. I pop my head out and I'm like, I'm cheering for you.
Jeez. I do not want to be in a car with you.
I loved it. And they were like, you know, but I always think if I feel it, I gotta say it, man. And then I always feel happy. Sometimes I second guess myself. I remember reading this book that said doing sometimes the right thing, it may mean that it makes you look foolish, but do it anyway. Right? So
this happened yesterday.
Okay, what did you do? Tell me.
My kids love playing rock, paper, scissors when they're in the bus or when they are with random strangers in the car.
Like with
people outside of the car.
I love it.
That's the weirdest thing. So
did they just turn around and be like, hey, you want to play rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, they're in the back seat, whatever. And then when the car comes to a stop, they'll roll down the window and be like, hey, you didn't play rock, paper, scissors? And they'll do this. And then some people, yeah, let's go for it. And then like one person on the street, and my daughters are like whatever, and they're playing whatever, and then the car takes off, and then they never see them again.
It would bring me so much joy. I would be the person like, let's do it. Yeah, that brings me so much joy.
So yesterday at church, so I didn't know this.
You didn't know that they did this?
I didn't know they did this.
Okay.
Right? And so yesterday after church, I had to stay behind and whatever. So long story short, we only had one car, so the girls had to wait for me until I finished. So I'm driving. I have one in the front, one in the back. They're rolling down the windows, and they're like, Dad, can we play rock, paper, scissors? I'm like, dude, I'm driving. He goes, not with you, with the strangers.
With the strangers.
And I'm like, what strangers? Like that one over there. I'm like, dude, just stop. And I didn't argue, and I didn't get mad at them. I'm like, stop. Like it became embarrassing for me, but they were having the time of their life. And then we got to a street sign, and they kept begging and begging and begging. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So they turned to this. They turned to this old guy, and they're like, rock, paper, scissors. And like I was like, just looked away from them. So Isla was in the front seat, and she was so embarrassed. But then she slid down so she would not be seen, whatever. But they were both dying. Like they were both on the floor laughing. And I saw them. I'm like, man, like these girls are living their life. You should do that. You should be just yelling at people. I am not.
You should totally do it.
Just like, no, why? No, it's their shtick. I'm going to leave that to them. But yeah, like they just did not care. And they were just about having fun. They laughed. Isla was crying.
Because it was so funny.
She was laughing so hard.
I would have been dying too.
The guy just looked at her and just turned away.
Oh, man, you got to be silly. Silliness brings life.
I know.
Oh, man.
So the one that I'm surprised that it's not here is forgiving.
Oh, yeah, forgiveness. That one's such an important one.
How many angers are you holding on to?
And it affects you. Like, it affects you physically. It affects your mindset. You just got to let those things go.
It gets you sick.
I know yesterday I had some moments that I wasn't my best. Like we had an event at church and I got annoyed over a couple of things.
Of course.
you know it is not perfect here. And I remember just kind of holding on to it for the day. And I was like, why am I holding on to it? I'm like, I gotta let go. Anyway, I prayed. And then I had to exercise the choice of letting it go multiple times.
And then the article here is one last sentence says, life is a choice. It's your choice of life.
Yeah. Agreed.
Choose consciously, choose wisely, choose honestly, and choose happiness.
Yep.
So
choose happiness.
What's that?
I'm like, choose happiness, absolutely.
Yeah, no. So yeah, this is the thing. We went from Nepo to weather to like dying words on your deathbed.
I have a question for you real quick before we end. Do you guys talk about death a lot in your family? Or do you talk about it at all? Or like if you were to die, what would like anything like that with your kids?
Yeah, they're excited for me to pass on. I'm not even joking. They're like, they come into my office and like, okay, we're gonna get those, we're gonna get that. Like they're already dividing up my content, and I'm like, I'm still here. You know that, right? It's like, I know. We're just planning ahead. You're getting old, Dad. I'm just like these horrible children.
Oh my god.
But they've experienced death already. Like right, the biggest one was my father. And we were able to work through it, and even our puppy.
Yeah.
Right. And so they were closer to the puppy as well. Like, I mean, it was part of their life and stuff. So yeah, we've had some hard passings away already. And laughter is huge.
I know.
I can tell you that right now. Chewy, our last dog, had this thing. I don't know if you remember him, but he.
Oh yeah, I remember. Right.
And so we were watching a movie, and there was something like and then I was like, is that Chewy? We're all dying laughing, right? And then when we said our final prayer to say goodbye to Chewy, we're like, God, if you can't find him, just stand still and wait and listen to his breathing, and like you'll be able to find him. And then we all started laughing and stuff like that. And this is fresh, like a day after him passing.
Yeah. But
it brought us a little bit of joy and comfort, and we've talked about it, and the plan of salvation takes a huge part in our lives, right? We know that this is not the end all and be all, and that they're going to see Chewy, they're going to see my dad, they're going to see everybody.
I definitely think that's a big aspect, because not knowing would be so scary, right? But I think the knowing that, hey, there is a place that we go, we're going to be okay. I have conversations like that all the time with my kids. Yeah. And the other day, Raquel, like, we were talking about I often tell them, hey, if I pass away, like, it's not because I'm not trying to, like, because I want to live till I'm like 100 or 95, right? But I'm like, if it's my time, I gotta go. There's nothing more that I can do, right? But I'm working towards living till 95. And then Raquel was like, do you think Daddy would get remarried? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, totally, right? He'll totally get remarried, right? And then I don't know if I told you before that I thought when Mike and I first got married that he was into Asian women, right? I told you that.
No, this is new. So, Mike?
I 100% thought so. I was like, I went to go pick him up because that's how I met him. I was driving him somewhere, and I looked at him, and I was like, he must be into Asian women. And because of that thought, I was able to be myself. Anyway, it worked out, right? So then Raquel was like, maybe he'll marry an Asian woman. I'm like, yeah, maybe he will.
Like, let's talk.
Anyway, that brings us to the end.
That brings us to the end of the episode.
Oh man.
So what was your takeaway today?
What was my takeaway? I really like going through our last words, because I think it's something that we just have so much fear around it, where we shouldn't. There should be something that we openly discuss with each other, with our kids. We kind of reassess our lives, and we're like, okay, what area do I want to improve in? And then kind of go from there, right? Nothing scary. Everybody, there's two sureties in life. You got to pay taxes, and you're going to die. And sometimes when you die, you do have to pay taxes, just FYI. So tax planning is huge.
They go together.
They go together, yeah.
My takeaway today, I don't know. It was something that you said. I was like, holy crap, like that's genius. It was about the Nepo stuff. Not the nipple, the Nepo. Nepo.
Was it the pride, or like, I don't know, what was it?
The what?
We talked about pride. I don't know what I said with regards to that. I think just my own views is that sometimes we think it's too easy for them too, where they also have challenges. Yeah. It's just different challenges than we have.
Yeah. So that just reiterates what I already know, and I think it's good. Like, even hearing from a different point of view, stuff like that. That absolutely, you have to. What you see is just, it's that whole image of the iceberg and that whole glacier underneath, right? what you see is just a fraction of what's happening. Like you have no idea what that person did to get to that spot. So don't judge and just leave that person alone. Like, just enjoy their happiness and
focus on you. That's the best way to focus your energy on you, your family, your sphere of influence.
Oh, that was what it was. It was the only thing that you're gonna leave behind is what you imprint.
Oh, yeah,
inside them.
true that. So
that's my takeaway. That's my take. That poverty doesn't have to be generational. Thinking is though.
All right.
Yeah.
See, you're welcome.
That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you like, share, subscribe. All of our social media contents are up there. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything, YouTube. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And make sure that you do share this content.
Yes.
We have a couple of sponsorships coming up. No, we don't. And so
we're manifesting. We just got to say it.
We're manifesting. So
we're going to be manifesting.
There's people that want to sponsor the show, and we're ready to take them on.
We're ready.
As long as it's clean. As long as it's bad. It's not bad. Later.
Get a minute, don't know. Get a minute of your time. Get a minute of your. Let it. I sure gotta live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time. Part of the creation, the relations I've got, the only one that keeps me safe, the only one you should trust. For sure, it ain't right that I have checked the speck of dust from all of its side. Fall down, that from my height, cause I didn't see the plank I have in my eye. In yourself when no one's to be found. What keeps you eased out? What takes you off your mind?
Yes, you want this, I want this. Everybody in this, we should have it. Stop illusions, it's in your hands. Show yourself, reveal it to them. Check the time.